Hello everyone. Today we are going to do 19th June current affairs, and these have been compiled by me Bhavna from different news sources, which includes the Indian Express, the Hindu, PIB, and all the other important news sources. So for better understanding of everyone, I have divided the news into different categories, which includes national, international, economy, business related news, people in news. This helps to learn in a very meticulous and a proper way. We will be beginning with the national news and the COVID 19 related news. Let's look at the first news in this section. So, the first news of the day is about the Galwan Valley clash that happened between the Indian and Chinese troops. So, this clash, at least 20 Indian soldiers, including a commanding officer, had lost their lives. So there were high tensions running between both the countries, and both the countries had employed actually a large number of soldiers and military equipment along the line of actual control, which is the a demarcation line that separates Indian controlled territory from the Chinese side. There were meetings being held at the level of Corps commander, and this meeting was specifically held on June 6 to de escalate the tension that was arising between the two countries on the borders. And both the countries had mutually decided to enter into this disengagement process. And as a part of this process, a buffer zone was created, and this was created between the line of actual control and the junction of Shylock and Galwan rivers in order to avoid any face off between the two armies. So, as a part of this process, both the armies were to move back a kilometer each in that area as a first step. But when the Indian side, which was being headed by Colonel B. Santosh Babu, who was monitoring the process, went to this site and noticed that a Chinese camp was still existing in the area. So he went to that camp to get it removed. And this actual movement led to fistcuffs and blows being exchanged between both the sides. Though there was no use of fire shots, but it has been assumed that bats, clubs, sticks, and stones were used to cause major injuries. And the reason why there were no fire shots was because both India and China have signed actually had signed a lot of agreements in past, which imposed a lot of restrictions on military equipment, exercises, blasts, and aircraft in the vicinity of the line of actual control. Chinese side has actually not disclosed the number of soldiers or casualties it has faced, and so we'll have to wait and see what will be the future course of action taken by both the countries. And with this, let's move on to the second news of the day. The second news of the day says that the Bangalore COVID count is least among the big cities. So Bangalore has actually become the lowest COVID burden among the cities with a population of 10 million or more. And as on 17th June 2020, it had only 827 cases with 43 deaths. Now, this is one model that actually can be used by other metropolitan cities such as Mumbai, Delhi, Chennai. And as you know, that Delhi and Mumbai have been seeing a spike in the cases like anything. And as on 17 June, we can see that Mumbai has 60,228 positive cases and 3167 deaths, and Delhi has 44,688 cases and 1837 deaths. So this why is this model so successful of Bangalore? So Bangalore has made sure that it is continuing the practice of quarantining the positive cases and identifying the contacts within 24 hours of a positive test result. So Bangalore has actually been shifting its primary and secondary contacts to institutional quarantines. Also, it has approximately 6 apps that have been developed right from contact tracing to keeping a watch on quarantine and to tracking new arrivals to monitoring critical patients. And the data that is churned from all these apps on a daily basis is actually being made to understand the spread of disease. And basis the data and understanding, different strategies have been developed to contain this disease into the limited area. So, as in the last news, we saw that the spike in the number of cases in Delhi. With those spike, the center has there was a recent meeting between the Union Home Minister and the Delhi government, under which this committee was set up by which was headed by Dr. V.K. Paul, that has suggested that the center should cap the COVID-19 testing at 2400 in Delhi. The test earlier used to cost rupees 4500, but now it has been capped at rupees 2400. And also from June 18, tests will be done by a new rapid antigen methodology, which has already been approved by ICMR. This test cost approximately rupees 450 and would give results within half an hour. So this test is conducted on swab nasal samples that detects antigens which are found on or within the SARS-CoV-2 virus. So it's a point of care test performed outside the conventional laboratory setting and is quickly used to obtain a diagnostic results. So in India, ICMR had allowed this South Korean company by the name SD Biosensor, which also has its manufacturing unit in Manesar, to manufacture kits for this test. ICMR stands for Indian Council of Medical Research. Its secretary and director general is Dr. Balram Bhargav, and its headquarters are in New Delhi. It functions under the Department of Health Research, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and our Union Health Minister is Dr. Harshvardhan. So the next news of the day says Indian Railways installs first Atma at Nagpur station. So Indian Railway Central Zone has installed a newly innovated Atma. So what does this Atma stands for? Atma or ATMA, if you want to call it as that, stands for Automated Ticket Checking and Managing Access Machine. So this has been installed at Nagpur railway station and it has been introduced under the new innovative non-fare revenue idea scheme, which a policy of Indian Railways to prevent the transmission of COVID-19. So this ATMA or Atma machine will enable touch-free scrutiny of passengers' credentials while following boarding guidelines. Also, recently, Indian Railways had introduced a new automated face mask and hand sanitizer dispenser machine at Patna Junction. So, the Union Railway Minister is Mr. Piyush Goyal. The next news says that the Serum Institute of India and UNICEF would provide pneumonia vaccine. So, Serum Institute of India is in collaboration with UNICEF is going to provide the low-cost pneumonia vaccine, which is the pneumococcal conjugate vaccine, every year to the low-income countries for the next 1 decade. Decade is a combination of 10 years. The Serum Institute of India is based out of Pune and is a leading manufacturer of immunobiologicals, which includes vaccines. So, pneumonia is basically an acute respiratory infection that affects the lungs. So, there are alveoli which are present in the lungs, and in a normal individual, these alveoli contains air. But when a person is infected by pneumonia, these alveoli, which are the breathing sacs, are actually filled up with pus and fluid, which makes breathing very painful and limits oxygen intake. And by facts, it is the single largest infectious cause of death in children worldwide. The headquarters of UNICEF are situated in New York, USA, and the executive director is Henrietta H. Fore. So now we have come to the international news section. Let's see which is the international news we are going to do today. So yes, you read this right, that dexamethasone has become the first life-saving coronavirus drug. In a research conducted by the University of Oxford, it has found that dexamethasone, which is actually a very cheap and easily available anti-inflammatory steroid, it has saved the lives of people who have been seriously affected by coronavirus. It has cut the death risk by a third for those on ventilators and by fifth for those on oxygen. So this was an outcome of a study by the name Recovery. Recovery stands for Randomized Evaluation of COVID-19 Therapy, in which approximately 11,500 patients across the United Kingdoms were studied. So this drug has been used as for traditionally it has been used to treat a range of diseases which include rheumatism, asthma, allergies, and even to help cancer patients better handle the nausea triggered by chemotherapy. And now we've come to our economy, banking, and business news section. So, very interesting news indeed. Two Indian firms, Zest Money and Stellapps, have been named in the WEF's list of tech pioneers for 2020. So, WEF stands for World Economic Forum. So these two startups by the name Zest Money and Stellapps. So Zest Money is an app which uses technology to transform the financial services industry. It offers affordable credit to those who are unable to access this through traditional finance path. And Stellapps is a data-led Internet of Things based farm to consumer dairy supply chain digitization service provider. So both of them have been named in WEF's list of tech pioneers for 2020. WEF stands for World Economic Forum. It's an NGO which is headquartered in Switzerland, and the founder of this NGO is Klaus Schwab. So Hike has launched mobile first virtual world Hikeland to hang out online. Hike is an instant messaging app which has rolled out this new feature by the name Highland. So this would be available both on Android and iOS, and it has offered two basic virtual environments, which include the home and big screen. In the home environment, the user will be able to invite friends to watch videos together, and in this mode, only the host will be able to invite the people, and no one else can enter that space without host's consent. Big screen, in the big screen mode, this mode allows the person to watch a video with the other people. These people can be known or unknown people. With this mode, a user can ping others in the theater, only in the theater. Only after receiving a response to the first message, both of the sides can continue to interact with each other. Highland is a completely homegrown product that has been built from ground up, keeping in mind the Indian market. It is an India first product built for a mobile first, mobile only audience. So the CEO and the founder of Hike is Kavin Bharti Mittal, who is the son of Sunil Mittal, who is in turn the founder and chairman of Bharti Enterprises. And the flagship company of Bharti Enterprises that we all are familiar with is Bharti Airtel. The next news says that AIIB approves USD 750 million loan to India. AIIB, which stands for Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, has approved a loan of US dollar 750 million to help Indian government strengthen its battle against the adverse impact of COVID-19 on poor and vulnerable households. AIIB's total sovereign loans to India that have already been approved amount to US dollar 3.06 billion, which includes a recent US dollar 500 million COVID-19 emergency response. This current loan of that 750 million would be the second for India under AIIB's COVID-19 crisis recovery facility. So the bank is headquartered in Beijing, China, and the president is Jin Liqin. And this is a multilateral development bank that aims to support building of infrastructure in the Asia Pacific region. It currently has 78 members as well as 24 prospective members from the world. So the next news is HDFC Ergo to launch on-demand pay-as-you-fly service. So HDFC Ergo has partnered with TropoGo, which is a deep tech startup, and have partnered to offer commercial drone owners and operators third-party liability claims cover for property damage and bodily injuries. So this policy is the first of its kind in the non-life insurance segment in India, which will be offered on demand to customers on pay-as-you-fly concepts. In this current pandemic, UAV drones, which are also known as UAV, which are the unmanned aerial vehicles, are being considered and also actively used by state and central governments to fight this COVID-19 situation. There are chances when the UAV is conducting activities like survey, mapping, monitoring, disaster relief initiatives, civil administration services, it could cause property or bodily injuries. So for that purpose, both of these have tied up to provide third-party liability claims. So Mr. Ritesh Kumar is the MD and CEO of HDFC Ergo, and it is headquarters in Mumbai, Maharashtra. And about TropoGo, the founder is Sandeepan Sen, and it is headquartered in United Kingdom. So KVIC, which is the Khadi and Village Industries Commission, has rolled out a unique project to produce Neera and palm good, which is jaggery, to create employment in the country. So Neera is extracted from the palm trees before the sunrise, and it's a nutrient-rich health drink that is consumed in many Indian states. So KVIC is planning to promote Neera as a substitute to soft drinks, and this step would create self-employment to Adivasis. Okay, so this scheme was launched at Dahanu in Palghar district of Maharashtra, a state which has more than 50 lakh palm trees. This project has been rolled out on the initiative of Union Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. So KVIC is a statutory body by the Government of India, which is an apex organization functioning under the Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. And our Union Minister for the same ministry is Mr. Nitin Gadkari. So with this, we have come to the sports news section. So the news says that Sports Ministry will establish Khelo India State Centers of Excellence, which under the flagship program of the ministry, Khelo India scheme. So 1 KISCE will be identified in each state and UT with an effort to create a robust sporting ecosystem in the entire country. So in the first leg, Ministry has identified state-owned sports facilities in 8 states of India, and these states are Karnataka, Odisha, Kerala, Telangana, and northeast states of Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Mizoram, and Nagaland. The Khelo India scheme was launched in 2018 by the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. So the aim of the scheme is to, upgrade the level of sports that is being played in the country. And under this, a financial assistance of approximately rupees 5 lakhs is provided to the budding sportsmen and different players. And this scheme, or under the scheme, a lot of games and competitions are conducted at school level, college levels, and university levels. The current sports union sports minister is Mr. Kiran Rijiju. So now we have come to the last section of the news, which is the important days. So on 19th June, the International Day for Elimination of Sexual Violence in Conflict is observed. So the term conflict-related sexual violence refers to rape, sexual slavery, forced prostitution, forced pregnancy, forced abortion, enforced sterilization, forced marriage, or any other form of sexual violence of comparable gravity which is done against women, men, girls, or boys that are directly or indirectly related to a conflict. So this day was adopted as a United Nations Day in 2005. So specifically 19th June was chosen as the date because this date coincided with the adoption of the Security Council Resolution 1820, in which the council condemned sexual violence as a tactic of war and an impediment to peace building. So with this, we come to an end of today's lecture. I hope you are able to understand the current affairs in a better way. Please leave your valuable feedback in the comment section. Thank you for listening and take care.